alliances turn to ban.
With the save as well, it's pretty nuts when you think about it.
No, absolutely. It's the potential of this hero is why it's the big thing that a lot of people complain about. Oh, Morma's Kiss is broken. Please nerf, please nerf, please nerf. And yes, it's a lethal spell given the right situation, right? In a vacuum. Of course, there are good counters to it, especially in the meta right now. Nyx, incredibly popular, which was banned out. Puck also banned out as another way for you to get on the backline. As you mentioned, Void Spirit, the counterpart, and these two new heroes, a means to reach that backline and interrupt the artillery bombardment of this friendly little dragon.
10 seconds.
He is a cute little fella, isn't he?
It's adorable. I'm really torn when you see Puck on one side and Snapfire on the other. It's like, which one is cuter at this stage?
Man, I can't unsee it now. Like, I know he needs something to hold that big cannon onto his back, but why does it look like he's wearing bondage? It does!
Look,
come on!
Look, the alternative was bolting it to his back, and that's a whole different kind of penetration. Anyway,
couldn't it just be a backpack, dude? Like, you know.
I'm sorry, do you know how cannons work? Do you know what recoil is?
I mean, this is Dota, you know.
It's a shotgun.
You've got heroes that do. Nah, it has better range than shotgun. Anyway,
I'm just gonna move you away from bondage, and
we're done with the Valentine's Day talk. It's all good.
Yeah, you've reached the end of the day. I'm still midway through, but don't worry, I've got plenty of cuties in chat to keep me company. Ain't that right, Twitches? As we enter this second phase, and what is Alliance gonna get? Maybe some catch?
Ooh.
We haven't seen Disruptor in a while. I don't think I've seen him at all today. I don't think I've seen him in the entire qualifier for this minor so far. Good against the Void Spirit, though, right? You've now got that instant preparation. Like, you see him, you just drop Static Storm, and unless he's got a BKB, he's sitting there going, oh, what did I do wrong in this life?
It really depends on... I need to double check if the glimpse changes with the new change to how it affects certain things. Like, you could Astral, for example, previously, and you would still get brought back to the original glimpse location. But now you can actually dodge the glimpse, and it was like a shadow change that was never mentioned in the patch notes, which people have just had to accept. Yeah. So I'm not sure how that works with Void Spirit, just because it's a newer addition to it, you know, with the with his W.
Amazing how many small things still sliver through. I don't know if they ever fixed the kinetic field interaction with Wind Ranger's Wind Run, where I think it was just a few months back, it was possible for you to spam move clicks. And if you're wind running, you'd like basically wiggle and force your way through as if you covered yourself in butter and try to get through a door that's way too small for you.
Yeah. So maybe this disruptor pick, like previously where you couldn't pick things like OD or the Park, which is banned anyway, or heroes that go things like Manta style, because you're like, well, doesn't really matter against the disruptor. It actually gets out of a lot of these things, so it opens up the draft on Nigma a little more than in the past, and you can exploit some of the things that Disruptor is not quite as good at, such as playing from behind, and so maybe going something that was a little more aggressive early on, and, trying to take advantage and just seize the game from the first 10 minutes, get both outposts, and try and coast away until the end of the game.
Absolutely, and Skywrath, a hero which can actually function very well against the Disruptor. We just don't see it very often. I especially love the voice for it, the potential, and on the laning phase, you can just couple it with the StarLadder, right, and then transition. A lot of aggression, as you said, just swinging out of those lanes. Question is, what is your response right now? Do you go for some bulky? You probably want some sort of patch, right? Like, Disruptor's good after the fact, but getting on top of them first, especially with this Skywrath.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit tough, and he's definitely going to be, again, I feel like this entire series has been about positioning in team fights, but also just area control, and even more so now, you know, Skywrath area control, absolutely insane. Ways you could
after the fact, but getting on top of them first, especially with this Skywrath. again, and also this should be given that opportunity to create the space that he was very formidable on early on the day on this Void Spirit. Against this type of this type of team rather, you can see that potential. I think Alliance really need to throw a curveball with this final pick. Maybe look for some sort of cheese opportunity if there is one available.
Yeah, still no Chen was picked up. I suppose there's a good amount of AoE damage that was available on Alliance's side already. But still, just realizing, well, that's probably the last thing that they've got remaining for their draft. Bring it all together. I don't think they're going to go for a minus on the lifestealer. I think Nigma are going to be trying to get a lot more aggressive than that. Or they could just be going 4 heroes going towards one lane and then just creating a ton of space for this pos 1 lifestealer. Going with the AA to finish things off. So does hinder the Timbersaw's ability to sustain himself in team fights.
Most definitely so, and this is more aggression. This is a situation where you're looking, you go, okay, we've got this lifestealer. He should be able to actually just defend and hold himself to an extent. So now you have the potential combo of open wounds with cold feet, or you have a tri-lane potential, right, where you run Skywrath, Ancient Apparition, probably behind the StarLadder, and just run your opponents over in the first 2-3 minutes and then just rotate. This means Alliance, where do you go? You can't go for more tanky sustain. You've already got this Timber and this Tiny that are feeling a bit susceptible to the AA. If anything, you need Burst right now. And you are outdone and outclassed in the physical department in that regard already.
The most important pick of this patch, let's say, for Alliance.
So next. Kasainin tas saya mong Gmail kami pre. Kasainin tas saya mong Gmail. Nag-live sub ko sab. Nag-live sub ko.
What's up mga kaigan?
Hindi, nag-live ko sa kon. Channel mo. Ano ko channel sa kon?
Saan mo sa YouTube? Saan mo nalagot? Tuloy ko isa mo na yan.
Mara ragod sa kon.
Parang gawa na live kayo.
Pag-live niyo sa Facebook. Kanya ako YouTube lang.
Sa YouTube ba nag-live? Saan mo na?
Kanay niyo kay pa man to ba? Facebook.
Facebook
Oh,
sa.
mara gyapon.
Oh, you think you can outplay me, huh?
Alo, wala ba ingay isbay. What's up mga kaigan? Ano lugar? Saan ting? Saan ting sa YouTube ting?
Boy, labo.
Mane akong channel oh. Mane.
Unsa mo lugar?
Coming, bot, coming.
Unsa lugar na pag dana? Ay pare ba sa mag-Gmail gyapon ka?
Imo na account sa YouTube.
Oh yo, nanay ko na.
Just kill him. Well played. Well played. Well played, guys.
Yawa ning magid ba bisop tiri gyud sila dayo. Ay, napildi na man ang liquid niya day. 2-0 man day. Alliance silang kontra sa garon. Uy, pets king dula pa sa final na.
Oh, best of 5.
It's similar to when you see a team draft the Naga, right? Where it's like, okay, you just forfeit that you're not present for a very long time. And I will say that Nigma look like they have a slight advantage when you consider the way heroes function in the laning phase and immediately beyond, right? There is definitely a lot more ramp up there. Because if a Medusa has a good start, you don't really turn it into aggression. You just keep farming. And you're like, this is great, guys. Just go do something elsewhere. I don't want to be part of this.
If Alliance do get on the more advantageous side of the early wrong on Nigma's side, it's not like they have something like a sniper that can just easily repel the siege that's going to be coming through from Nico Baby. And any sort of incorrect positioning is going to be heavily punished by Alliance's side. It's just, how do they get there? How do they get to that late stage of the game where he's got these early items and he's going to be able to do a lot of this ballista damage onto the tier 3 towers and the rest of the high ground?
And a big bridge part is Limp and what he can do. He's likely to go for that blink type build. It's not one of these greedy tinies where you can just try and farm into your AC, your crits, and just run. But there will be a conversion point where if you can actually make that gap close from being the blink dagger initiator into the hard hitter himself, then you have 2 fortresses on the side of Alliance. And then you're looking at the side of Nigma, and then you're going, yeah, you have this AA, but you don't, for example, have any hero that's going to build a Spirit Vessel in this game, which could have hurt you later on, especially early on, even with the Timber, right? So you're really on your AA, you're really on Kuro to perform like a god and make sure that these kind of regenerative, these tanky elements of Alliance cannot exist.
I was about to say we're looking at another tri-lane coming from Alliance, but Fada TPing down to the bot side, making sure that Nico Baby's going to have a decent game, because a huge portion of this relies on him getting to that later stage. If he's doing all right at 30-ish minutes, going to be doing all right, but is it going to get to that stage? The pressure might be a little bit too much from Nigma, but time will tell. Interesting build by GH as well, bringing the crown into the 3 Ironwood branches. Oh, mind control is getting very low.
Some pressure being applied on all lanes, but no one dying outright just yet. Mind control always have the ability to just back up. It's you trying to run into a Skywrath, and especially when it's at slow level. The best thing you can do is just trade straight into his face, though. Like, if GH allows them to get close, this is a hero with 1 armor. He feels every hit. But you do have to keep you have to keep that damage always churning on top of him.
Especially with that Fairy Fire as well. Just that little bit of extra damage coming from the snap. Able to trade pretty well against the Skywrath Mage.
Meanwhile, Skywrath GH is actually keeping a lot of pressure on Nico Baby. I mean, a lot.
This is true. Forcing the salve, I think. Yeah, popped by far.
It's looking pretty even in the mid so far. No one's taking a clear lead. Tiny not as much of a bully as he once was in these mid 1v1s, but Limp, with being a specialist hero, you could see a situation which he tries for a pick, especially considering we point into dissimulate until probably 5.
He's running away. Oh, he has to be careful with his courier. Oh, thought he was going to continue committing with that.
Actually, DH. Ooh, nice save from Mind Control. Definitely getting the worst for wear. And considering the way it's Snap 5 builds, you're probably going to see a headdress coming out soon. And then this harassment that you try and achieve as the Skywrath is going to be alleviated. However, if he snipes your courier, no headdress anytime soon.
Bit more difficult. Ouch. 1 CS each for Team Nigma.
As we talked about the mid lane, I was waiting for something to happen here, and Limp struck instantly. Still no points to dissimulate. He saw the opportunity, and he brings down the Void Spirit in a solo kill.
We've already got this camp stacked up once. Ooh,
that's what we were waiting the whole time. Both these supports have been sitting on a sliver of HP each. And of course, in that situation, Skywrath always has the advantage.
Absolutely easily able to finish it off. I think GH, yep, he's going for the neutral. Death 25 seconds though on the sidelines. They might try and put some pressure here onto Mind Control now that he's going to be sitting here on his own.
A bit tough now that he's up to level 3. In the meantime, you actually will see Kuro die top rather as 33 does swoop in. Hanscom was able to assist with that glimpse play, which means at least you will be able to TP back to the lane without worrying about the glimpse back to base situation.
Nice pull being done by Fada though, trying to deny as much experience as you can. Now you've got GH though, TPing back to lane. He's got full health, full mana, and he's purchased up the magic stick and a couple of mangoes, so the harass is going to continue.
What we like to see. Don't want this static lane situation, force the Medusa into a fight scenario, and maybe she can do some work. Miracle will be able to move away. 33's always keeping him on his toes though. It's just not a good lane for Lifestealer right now. Not with the changes, the way these heroes now interact. You don't take life away, you're a life fabricator.
Playing with fire a little bit, but realizing that he has those 10-stick charges to go to the absolute limit there.
And he's farming very well. Miracle's sitting top of CS so far. So despite the harassment, he is actually still getting his gold. And Void Spirit, extremely low, able to move away just in time. Limp is keeping the pressure on him all times. also just such a good hero for getting through this Resonant Pulse.
Just harassing him in every way he can.
Remind him. Just let him know that this is not his lane.
You got the bounties coming up in 10 seconds. No one moving from them yet outside of Hanskin. Gonna secure the two top side.
Bars jostling up and down everywhere. There's just back and forth aggression. And everyone just keeps getting so close to death. And you can see the mid lane right now. Either one could go down at this rate.
Oh, 3-3. He's sitting up on his own. Might be in a bit of trouble here.
They find him. Dora gets the final tap. Nice little bit of cheddar in the change. And he can probably just go ahead and buy the boots if he wants to now. And there it is. So Kuro can now kite. Shouldn't be an easy pick off necessarily. Which is one of the big issues you usually run into early as an AA.
These two mid laners, they completely leave the lane. I suppose both of them go on the bottle. And all this wrath has been going on means they're pretty poor on their resources. Coming
The
back
big difference,
somewhat healthy.
You have to burst really hard as the tiny in this lane, and the mana investment is the difference, right? So like once we get to the 6, this lane is not a threat, and because you're an int-scaling hero, you will be tank. You will have enough spam, shall we say, to just do what you want, farm, and then go do something on the map.
Well, who do the script gods favor? Oh, I hate to say it, but it's looking pretty ominous. Hands getting topside.
And the mid, Limp tries to bring down where he gets away, but in the top, we're talking about Hanskin will go down. Miracle will TP away. He doesn't want to have any beef with 33. Yeah, I've got the little poll off we had. It turns out that Alliance has come in third place on that list. Nigma is second, and apparently something about a script is in first place with most votes. I'm just gonna close that. I'm not sure what that's about. Stun out. Potter will be started stop. And this is a suicide mission right now. He won't get a chance to blow out that cookie though. Hanskin can bring the glimpse back though, and if he blocks here correctly, GH should be going down. And with the snake thrown out, Snake Lady gets herself some extra gold. Understanding that the Timber can now be left alone. He doesn't rely on anyone to babysit him when he's up to level 5 in this lane. Not the same necessarily for Miracle though. He might need Kuro to hang around a bit longer.
How are these stacks going? Anything built up? I think just to the south of the Tiny in the mid lane is basically the only one that's been built up here.
Yeah, we haven't seen a high prioritization stacks for this qualifier from what I've noticed.
Can see as we are rotating down towards this bot side.
Chase
Hanskin out here.
Nico Baby is out of mana. This is gonna hurt. Stun probably time with the Aether Remnant's arrival. And then it feels to try and keep them away. Mind Control might go down first, but it's gonna be a trade nonetheless. And in the top lane, there's already pressure on the life stealer, but too quick to move away from 33. Now Tiny. Oh, that's an easy pickings. We'll try for the kill on the GH, or is it so easy? He could throw out this avalanche, but he sees a bigger opportunity. He goes for the kill and we instead. Like, fine, walk away. There needs to be one survivor to tell what happened in this bot lane.
Some hashtag value, and man, he's also going to get this arcane rune, or is he? You've got Mind Control looking to deny it, and very nicely done.
In with the yoink indeed, and we'll just sliver away after harassing Limp a little bit.
Oh, what's that? You wanted the arcane rune? No.
I mean, he's not going to do anything with it, but he's just making sure Tiny can't with such a small mana pool. And more importantly, missing out on those bottle charges. And now you can see the lanes have switched up a little. They have stuck Weebot. He wants to try and leverage his XP advantage to find some picks.
Radiant's bottom tower is staggering.
Have you seen this? You see where they just placed the ward in the Radiant jungle? I was watching the game today. I think it was Reality Rift against Boom. And that tiny little area to the left of the ward, which is still kind of high ground, you can place a ward there, and it gives decent vision. So I think you might be able to dodge the sentry ward on the top, like the vision that gives, and put it down there, and still give pretty decent. It's not high ground, but it's good vision.
Quite possibly. That's an interesting idea.
I haven't tested it yet.
Yeah, definitely something to try out. I still remember when teams in a qualifier decided to try out putting wards in these pits and then discovered they are as terrible as you'd think. You cannot see anything as it is low ground. You can also trap people in there. I think when the patch first dropped, this bit next to that spot, you could actually trap people in. They fixed it since, but you can still do things like pin people with spears to them.
I think we're going to see a lot of action happening now, or maybe Nigma will look to back off. He's approaching that 10-minute mark, and Alliance did not want to be without an outpost.
No, that XP is important. You look at all the heroes, they scale well. Like Tiny wants the full combo. Medusa just wants to actually increase farm by having maxed out split shot, maxed out snake. And then Timbersaw needs no explanation about why levels are so critical for this hero's success.
With that as well, getting closer and closer on the supports to their ultimates. Actually, already has picked up on Fada here with the Snapfire, so can quickly turn it around, but G8 should only be 1 or 2 creeps away.
And they might just use up mind control here. They can kinetic field them up, and then it's just a kill. I'll wait this out a little bit. Silence thrown out to Hanskin. He can survive for the moment. Nice slow. They don't even use the kisses to get the kill. They just bait him in. Mind control thought he could do some work, and the kiss is coming out. The glimpse back as well is going to put GH close to them, but Hanskin able to sidestep in time, and they have just cooked some chicken in the bot lane.
Fats in the fat. Delight for you.
Still no response top because Kuroki is still at 6. One more creep would do it, and there it is. They could try and make a play here. Playfree's not an easy target, but with a third hero maybe, but there's the chain away in time. Last will be thrown out and through, and will hit true, but he throws down the tree with the GG branch, trying to move away. It's not going to be quick enough. Limp has arrived, though. A little bit too slow to get some vengeance, however, as they will back off.
It's really going in deep. This is a 1v4 situation.
He'll realize that now. Maybe a little bit too late. This is greedy from Lim. He knows it. Hopefully he learns from it. But he didn't learn soon enough, as he will be brought down.
Trying to take advantage of the space as much as possible. This mid lane pushing in. And off, actually. Nice use of the illusion rune to pull the creep wave back away from the tower. Make it not so safe for Hanskin and Fada.
More importantly, though, it is out of deny range. 33, he was just hit. He thought he could come back. They waited around. The Ice Blast isn't a long cooldown. It's actually even to your respawn time. So I dare you to come back again and see what happens.
Well, I guess it's at the stage of the game where they're like, look, we need to do stuff. Some of it's going to be stupid. But Nico Baby's farming. He's taken an ancient stack at the moment. He's nearly level 10, so he's highest in the game, equivalent with Weeha. I think he's having an alright game. That's really what it's about for them at this point.
It's just a matter of who has to be sacrificed, because yes, we've seen Free die, but more importantly before that, right, we saw the painful experience for Limp with that rotation top complete backfired, so his progression has been stunted a little, and you can see he just has to fall back to farm, and there isn't any picks anymore. Instead, now that you have the ultimates online, you're going to see Nigma the ones who are constantly rotating, and GH with his Invis rune is looking for someone now.
Look how deep Miracle is. He's farming right in there, and they actually catch him in a stun.
Confident, and I'm not sure why. Easy pickings for the side of Alliance, and the biggest kill they could find. Now on the sideline, that means that Medusa can start to build a lead over this Lifestealer.
Going straight into that Manta style, wanting to dispel a lot of the silence that's coming through, potentially the... What was the pace be dispelled? Best you can.
Yeah, you can get rid of that with the Manta. Also, you can use the Manta illusions to just tank the Aether Remnants as well. It has a lot of use in this game. It's a very good item. Just naturally good on Medusa. You want the Yasha anyway, it's such high value. Glimpse.
Oh, they've glimpsed him back.
Static Storm. And they'll throw the kisses. This is what we call a Shavant commitment. Why go in hard when you can shoot from afar? And now the Avalanche cross combo. Stun follow up again. They catch him out, and they're going to find a kill. This time under the voice for it. Lifestealer, you realize the combo can't be used on him, but you have to rage and run away. If they do use the Stone Gaze to chase down, toss forward is going to end before they can stone someone. But Nico Baby will chase on through, looking for the damage. GH has enough to finish him off. And on the other side, Miracle, forced to fight against his will fall as well as the Alliance strike back.
Triple kill for Nico. What a better way to take that sort of fight. Yes, it did require all the rotations from Alliance down bottom, but Nigma, they tried to respond in kind, and just a bit of better spell usage, a little bit too much of an overextension, and some good, like we were saying before, maneuverability, getting that early pick off onto the StarLadder through the use of the glimpse. Big factor behind their victory in that team fight.
I mean, more importantly, you're playing into this situation Alliance wants, right? Like, the Medusa is being fed kills at that point, and what Alliance need to do is they need to actually fight you, right? They need to make sure the net worth lead is growing for the Medusa. There's never really a threat onto Nico Baby, it's just onto more heroes from the side of Nigma. When they show up outnumbered, you can already see, even without the big spells, at this point, Alliance do have the means to chase down.
Here we go. They're looking to fight again.
Gonna trap them in. They don't want to.
Very close to the Static Storm.
Limp is coming by. Just to say hi. And there's the glimpse back. But dodge out to dissimulate. They will be just staring at each other. Moving in onto Limp. Ice Blast coming through. Everything Mystic Flare just to kill him off. It's going to be a trade as GH does side of Nico Baby. Hanskin throws down the Static Storm as they will walk into it. The Stone Gaze was off cooldown. Hasn't been that long, but it will feel like a lifetime as Nico Baby now in trouble, way too deep. The kisses are coming out, all the spells available. Alliance didn't even need to stack them together. It's going to have some impact as he comes back into the kisses. Mind Control is brought down by 33. The chase is on board. Cookie gets dodged out for the rage. Miracle are going to go back in on Nico Baby, who is out of mana and soon to be out of life if he doesn't get some assistance here. And with the Remnant, it's good enough control. Invest in. We says I can get you out in 10 seconds. But why go out when you can go in? As they will go deeper, looking for more. Drag on the Fada, brings him in because that Remnant Cookie's forward. For the team, he says, for the Alliance, as he is felt. And in the end, Nigma get the better side of the fight.
Pretty handy as well. They picked up the Philosopher's Stone that dropped for an Alliance. Tier 2 item. Meant that they had to take a disadvantageous fight a little bit closer towards I'd say a more open area as opposed to one of these clear choke points, and we saw the question answered, which was about the dissimulate. The glimpse previously would have brought him back, but not anymore.
I think they answered the question too. I'm not sure they were entirely certain with that one, but they find out the hard way. And yeah, I think the biggest thing is that Philosopher's Stone. You lose out on that, and all of a sudden you're in a situation where you have this disrupt, you have the Snapfire, two supports that would love that golden take, especially Hanskin, who would want to get towards the Nags as quick as possible against this team. Now that's not an option.
I mean, Weehar's holding it right now because a lot of his damage is coming from this Resonant Pulse, which is just, magic damage. Don't need any sort of physical.
A little bit of extra shadow, and when he's done with it, you can just pass it over to your Skyrab, who, by the way, almost has the Atos complete, just a few hundred gold off. And now there's the second Philosopher's Stone. We sitting here going, how do I carry two? Not an option.
Easy money.
Should be given over to the Skywrath most likely. Jump in, see the Skywrath. He needs all the gold he can get now. He's dead. They use the kisses as well. They hard commit for this, but the response coming out. Static Storm is down. Does trap in Weed, but he doesn't care. Who's trapped in with who? As Limpus is brought down courtesy of the Shatter. And Mind Control will move forward, unable to find Fada as he gets away in time. And once again, Alliance unable to make the connect quick enough and get out in time.
And that big downside of taking team fights when the creep wave is pushed next to your tower means that instantly that objective is taken by Nigma. And right, it's still looking a pretty even game. You can never count out a Medusa in this, and Nico Baby's been pretty good at dodging a lot of these team fights, farming when he's got the space, and it's just on the rest of his team to make sure that they're not dying unnecessary deaths and lessening the chances that he has to get this lead extended.
No, and the situation does exacerbate itself a little bit in terms of Nigma's favor in the next few minutes, because they're going to be going towards these death slays. Once you have the deaths online, there's the first one coming out. You can look towards Roche, right? The only thing you're trying to now do is force out Snapfire's ultimate or just kill her off. As Fada looks at the wrong place. This is the moment where they could just converge straight to pit if they wanted to. Or you just push in, pick tier 1 tower, maybe a tier 2. No hang around.
We talked about the target priority all throughout this series, particularly in the last game with the Snapfire. Great choice to look to find where she would be on the backside and quickly pick her off. Only up in 10 seconds, so still has that potential for coming back and influencing this next fight, but I think Roche will go down way too quickly.
Absolutely way too quick. Even with a level 1 corrosive haze, now that you have that Deso with power hit, they're hitting on the armlet lifestealer. We as well has the Chrysalis complete. It's going to be easy pick. Nothing you can do as well, because you'd be going in that fight without a Medusa. Nico Baby is still not ready to fight. This is always the issue. Every time with Medusa, you look over, you're like, okay, how many more items? And it's always just one more.
We had just moved away from the smoke that was popped there, so not an ideal situation. Probably going to get spotted by this tower here, but Farda positioning himself relatively well again, where he died previously. This time, though, I think he's going to be...
the life still inside him, though. I don't think they want to go on me in any situation. However, 23 is hanging around a little bit too long.
Counter smoke coming through, but they're going in completely different directions.
They should realize this very quickly. This should be the moment where 33 doesn't... I don't think you even farm this wave. It has to be cool right now from your team going, okay, they're not here. We've de-warded, but they're completely missing from the map. Don't show.
Now he's not going to show, surely.
You can see the moment where he turned around like, what creeps.
Should I?
We could get a tier 1 tower out of it.
What's the worst that could happen?
Heard that one too many times, and every time I wake up with a hangover and regret.
Valentine's.
Not so much that, maybe. I don't know. There's plenty of people in Twitch chat that can relate. You'll probably get drunk, but you don't worry about the regret in the morning. Or the regret that leads to the drinking.
That's Future Pige's problem.
That's Future. I think I'm more concerned about what Future Alliance's problem here is. Because it's looking like they might not have a future in this qualifier at this rate. A 5,000 net worth lead already building. Nigma in control. And you don't have any answers soon. Yes, you've got a Medusa on the high ground. It's just a matter of if you get caught out of the base, close to the base, as you mentioned earlier when they took that tower, the speed at which this lineup hits towers, you lose the Medusa close to your base, you're going to lose a lane. And they're going to lose 33 at this rate.
Oh, no.
Not the quickest kill, but there's the remnant. They do force out the stone gate, so they will completely retreat. That's all they want. It's a little hit and run. And that right there is value cloak, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say... Yes, it's hard to say who has the higher burst damage potential right now, because a disproportionate amount of the net worth is on both of these position ones. Oh, spag.
Kisses. Not a hard commitment, but this might backfire against them as they get nothing. And now you have no kisses for the big fight. I feel like I can never emphasize this enough. This is the thing with kisses, right? Like this tells you how far behind Alliance feel right now. Is when you commit kisses like that, it's very low expectation. Because you know it's a StarLadder with a pipe already.
Yeah. And
it's only level 1 kisses. So now you don't even have the full potential damage output when you get to a big team fight. And you might lose even more as Hans can get found out. Or just full. Alright. Tower full and Nigma's going to take another one.
Now Alliance are in a very bad position because not only do you have to fight into an Aegis against a core that honestly you don't have a ton of answers to in the Lifestealer, he's also got the Halberd, so all the damage that's potentially going to kill him, you have to kill him twice through Halberd, which is next to impossible.
Yeah, you can just see how very casually he comes down from his tiny airlines experience and immediately just starts hitting tower. It doesn't phase him. And this, of course, is with armor off. If he sees Tiny jump in, he'll just switch armor on and live long enough. Tower will go down. Cookie gets dodged out by the rage. And it's tempting to actually infest to heal up, but they'll just back away. There's no rush here. They get a tower, they back off. You got some gold to spend. Wait for the next wave. Heal up by the time you arrive. I'm like, toss. Miracle says, what was that? Did someone just stop me for 2 seconds from hitting buildings? Problem. Big problem, actually. Gets caught out here. This is gone. That's true, but this might be the back off, and you would have liked a lot more this first egg. So it's going to go down. The kisses are coming out. Large cost already.
That's a lot.
God, Alliance strike back. The kisses won't reach much further. Kuro moving away with that Glimmer Cake will be able to TP out successfully. They only lose the Lifestealer, but Alliance have repelled the forces of Nigma out of their base.
Great crowd control coming from Alliance as well. I was talking about the difficulty in killing the Lifestealer. It doesn't really make a difference if you can't get that Heaven's Halberd off onto the Medusa while she's dealing all this to you. So, maybe going a little bit too far there, and the return for taking a tier 3 tower, not as big as it used to be.
No, that's the summarizing thing. When you actually look at the map, there's still a tier 2 in the mid, right? So, Nigma, they aren't going to get much else out of that. You can actually see the way the push is waning because they only commit.
subscribe ang titing na YouTube. Wala pa kaya, wala ba na ako na-subscribe?
Oy, walay ko no?
Mana yung matay?
Wala pa jag, why TP jag? Jagas no TP. Uka ka labi, kalabi. We still have ages, guys.
Dula yung ito sa mga.
We still have ages. Oh, nanak si jag. Ano si jag? Patyo tarapin. Yeah, get back, get back. Enough, enough, enough. Let's go about like Dota.
And the rough thing about the Templar assassin is you don't side lane at
Tignan
all.
natin.
Here is just I don't want to say
Game
no,
number
she's
one,
not
game
very
number
well,
one.
very well, so
Там є ремонт ким
Oh no, Kim.
Армал.
Oh no, Kim was slow. Oh.
Наверное, нужно Манкиким выйти. А Эмберу себя спокойно будет чувствовать против Фамильера в зелени. Ну, сейчас посмотрим, кто, кстати, будет играть в моменте. Порох?
I'm right, they don't. The amount of sentries laced in this area, and as I'm talking about that disruptor, well, he got the outpost. It's a little bit soon.
Which gets taken back.
Maybe he's as bad at counting as me and doesn't see that it's not fine. In Nigma's favor, just scrap that away. Right, this kill score is right now is close a representation of the state of this game. Either team could actually come out swinging at the end of this one and head over to the StarLadder miner. And when you think about the scaling potential as well, there is potential on both sides. You can never rule out the Medusa, as you said, who's queued up the Divine Rapier. That powerhouse could lead you to victory. At the same time, Nigma, they still have this two-core combo with the crit build on Wii, with the way he's going towards this Bloodthorn next. He's gonna have that relevance, and of course, Life needs no explanation. He just needs to get that basher online so he actually has some lockdown of his own.
Oh man, that Rapier, that's going to be the game changer. Obviously, the only item left in the game that gives that true strike really effective this time around. And you have to think, you know, with this build that 3-3's going, he's got the 4-staff queued up. Would it be better for him to try going for the pipe so that you have that little bit of extra magic resistance for the Deucer and the block as well? Or is the maneuverability in teamfights going to be the big thing for them? Haven't got a Hurricane Pike just yet, I don't believe, unless it's coming out to him. But just the Dragon Lance he feels important for right now.
I think it's the fact that the Medusa went for the BKB, right? And you know Tiny should be tanky enough to be fine. So you're like, oh, I can just get, you know, standardized utility, right? Give you that mobility. And an Orb of Destruction coming up for Nico, baby. But that's the thing, like, this BKB is the game changer. The fact that he has this, you've seen the way these fights are approached, right? Nigma can't actually reach the Medusa anymore. And the difference in that matchup right now, and the reason Rapier is so good on this hero, well, it's always been a great iron, but the reason you pick it up so early now is the change to Stone Gaze. That movement speed change of 50% now gives you the ability to chase down and actually use that Rapier. The issue with Medusa for a long time, I'm sure I don't have to explain to you, Matt, is this fact you get late game, you can't even have your boots anymore. You're like, well, I'm stacking Rapiers, guys. So everyone just runs away from you.
Yeah. That's the thing. Do they have the potential to one array from them? You know, you've got this Tiny that's going to be Blink, tossing people back in. You've got 4-star for maneuverability. You've got the Glimpse. Very, very difficult. And then you've also got a Timber Saw chaining in after you. You've got a Snapfire that can give the extra mobility through the Cookie. And then even if it is long range, you've got the Kisses. So, you know, Alliance are looking pretty decent right now. It's just a matter of, are they going to be caught out of position and Nigma be able to get a pick off? Now they've got the Basher. Now they've got the potential to pick someone off before these key abilities can come out, and want to make sure that it's as hard to read as possible, trying to push out this lane before they go.
And you can tell this is a team decision the way they do it, because you mentioned the Dime build that Limp has gone for, right? He understands there's clearly a call probably a few minutes ago where he said, I'm not gonna be a powerhouse, right? I can't build in this right-click build. There's no conversion point for me right now. So what do I do to make your game work, Nico, baby? And he sat there, reflected for a moment. Rapier.
It's coming. He hasn't. He's actually purchased the Demon Edge portion of it. I like it. This is what they need. They need to get on the back line. 3-3 is not that back line, though.
And that's straight away. Mind control, like, nope. Nope. I just want to see who's around here. Tell me who is in this neighborhood. No one you want to say hi to.
If that was a Disruptor or a Snapfire, I think they would have committed.
Yeah, but now Alliance, it's their turn to smoke. They need to be quick here. This Roche won't
take long. They've got the Courier giving vision.
They're not quick enough, though. They're going to try and actually maybe just submit the fact that the Aegis won't be in their hands, but they can punish them here. In this choke point, this could be huge for them, even if the Aegis is in the hands of their opponents. Limp jumps in. Aegis been picked up, though. Forced up away, and Limp's already almost dead. The Kiss is coming through. They'll get rid of the Skyrack. 1-1 trade right now. Limps is going to come out, dragging him back towards the Stone Gates. Medusa, Nico Baby activates the BKB, brings down mind control as well. Buyback will come out from Tiny. He says now's the time to fight. We slashing through. Look at the kills. Hands get controlled up, will be brought down, and they're starting to go in favor of Nigma. Miracle surges forward towards Nico Baby, who has no way to protect himself anymore. The controller's out. The Ice Blast comes in. Lim gets clipped as well. Medusa's going to be brought down. Dead for 80 seconds. And the chase is on. Limp retreats towards the base. They leave behind the timber. He says, go. There's no way out for me. Ultra kill for we. No one left around for the rampage. But now they have an Aegis to pivot off and a Medusa dead for 80 seconds. And they would have noticed that Demon's Edge.
And oh man, it's just the difference that literally 1 second can make. He blinks in just after they finish it. Could have gone for the snatch, knowing that the Tiny had the open inventory slot available, so he didn't have that bracer handy. That little bit of extra magic resist, that little bit of extra HP could have been the difference between having to buy back and not. So one decision could be the thing that unfortunately causes Alliance.
Should kami inanoy.
Now Nico Baby, his only choice is to try and see if his team can buy enough time that he can complete this race.
Bandi yung Dota yawa. Fucking hill. Tungod atong kanya mo.
Ata. To YouTube. Been watching long to ya. Hindi ka mo naglantaw karon.
Nice one.
so many extra items now in the hands of Nigma. It's easy for them to do this with less chance of repercussion, shall we say, coming out on the side of Alliance. They're going to be forced to fight before the Rapier is ready at this rate. Avalanche toss, they just want to try and get this Aegis because they're 1,000 gold away from having Rapier complete. The tower is already gone.
Insane amount of lifesteal though.
Only works when he actually lifesteals things though. They stop them short of getting the meteorites. They will back off, and that's the breathing room they need as long as they don't come immediately back in. As Nico Baby is just 800 gold away. The Courier is already on its way out.
He's healthy again. Also got that double damage in the top lane, but no one's there to pick it up.
He's definitely looking full of life, unlike these Raxes as the second lane will fall. And Aegis.
Aegis gone.
Lovely time. The glimpse back avoided though. Full rage. There's no way you're getting a kill on a life steal like that. But that does give you the space you need to try and get this Rapier complete. Nico Baby will come out of that smoke to farm it up. He's still a few hundred gold short. If they find Miracle as the kill, which enables them to go for that Rapier, you couldn't ask for
a huge pickup.
And there it is. Avalanche toss in. Static Storm is down. The kisses as well. And Miracle is begging for help, but his team no longer knows his name, as he's the one who ends up praying for a miracle. And Nico Baby, look at this, 50 gold, it's going to be complete. This is the Rapier. This is where you need to get out on the map. You need to push down hard, try and catch your opponents off guard.
This is it. Oh, someone's in a bit of a precarious position. We are sitting right underneath them.
Vision. He has full vision though.
No one else is there.
He wants to snipe it out there, and his Hanska gets fouled. The DD gets max impact, and he moves across to the Fado as well. As we versus the world, he's going to start to feel the pain though. The greed, he punished, he's trying to move away, and they will chase forward, but they don't have the damage to finish. Fado can't do it alone. He needs some assistance to step out. If they can get the scatter blasters, no, they find him.
Oh, they found him.
He smells the fear of we and crushes him. Mind, body, and spirit alike, dead for 80 seconds, and 900 golds into the hand of the Tiny.
What are they doing with this time though? They're already down 2 lanes of Rax. They need to push in the lanes, and GH and Kuroki and Mind Control, they've done a fantastic job of making sure that there's not going to be any fear of consequence for those sorts of deep deaths.
That's right. That's the advantage you have when you pushed in, right? This is why it's always, you know, this team is 2, 3, maybe 4 fights away from winning the game. It's all about that first fight that gets you out on the map, the second fight that gets you on their side of the map. Third is usually fixated around Roche, which could be up in a minute's time.
You know, it's great that they could get the kills onto these cores, but other than a nice little gold bounty of, actually that's not bad, 900 for Weeha. Just under 600 for the Miracle Death. Really too much resulted from it. An outpost at this stage of the game, especially when there's 3 minutes remaining until the next lot of experience goes out. It's not going to be a big game changer.
But it does
level
make
25 is the next biggest thing, and the next neutral items.
But it also does make Nigma give it back a little bit, right? In this situation, when you see the lanes are naturally going to push in, what you want to try and do is you want to try and expedite that process. You want to shove them in. But as we just presented, if you get caught out of position, you can still very easily die to this lineup. So now you're in this situation where you want to get their attention in the out lanes in prep for Roshan and Alliance. Instead, they're going deep looking for an opportunity. Take that outpost away. If this is a quick Roche spawn, it's not. 2 minutes. This
and you've also got top lane pushing in, so reveals a lot about Alliance's positioning. If you've got this giant super creep wave, 2 waves actually, 3 pushing into the base.
And now Nigma, they see the opportunity to rotate, smoked up and on the move.
Wow, they're actually moving back for it, not just taking the backdoor protection mid lane.
The racks aren't what get you the win here. You're up against a Medusa or a Rapier. You need to kill her. You do that, you break Alliance.
Look at this handskin positioning. So deep on the edge. Oh, now the tier 4s, they're under siege.
They're still ignoring it. They're hesitant to come back because both teams are just waiting for this Roche. And if you come back, you know that the side of Nigma could just hold you in these choke points.
Radiant's middle tower can't
Yeah, here we go. They're going.
They've had enough. And there's the TV back. They finally get eyes on what Nigma's doing.
That's a valuable resource to be expended. Tier 4 is now very much in the equation.
it's a high value play, right? Like the potential upside for Alliance there is you find a crucial pick and then you completely take leverage over the map. I don't blame them for making that play. It beats you standing in the base, and that's the more anticipated play. When you have this Medusa, the traditional thing that Medusa's always done when they're behind is, guys, I need another rapier. And they'll just sit and they'll farm waves safely.
We has deep again.
I was gonna say, as a result, now they find themselves in a situation where you have had to surrender your control of that side of the map. Nigma are fully aware of this, and now you maybe don't have a favorable location when it comes towards the roast situation.
Just had a gem delivered through onto Limp, so it's all about getting control back on this map. Are they going to try and go for this outpost as well? Because right now they're not getting any experience, and go to hit up into his level 25. That might be the key difference maker. Don't think they'll have time though.
It's way too late. It's not worth the risk right now. This next fight will decide whether they actually can defib themselves back into this game, or if they just want to sign their death warrants. And Barnard's going to do exactly that as he gets caught out. Mind control is hunting forward. Can't see anyone though. They know they're on the high ground, but it's a Medusa, so you respect it. Roshi has just spawned. There's no easy way you can interrupt this right now, not unless you buy back on the snapfire straight away, and even then it's a long trek across. This is going to be the Aghanims as well. You do not want to give that to a StarLadder.
They don't have much choice. Oh, they went for the steal. He got it.
Aegis, he got the kill and the Aegis, and that will be all he'll pick up. He'll be happy with that. He'll give over his life. They're waiting behind him. Maybe they try and fight with BKB from mind control. Limp not able to easily get out of this. We're all full. Nico baby, he shot once. Limp is buying a little bit of time, but it's just enough time they retreat after they revealed they were still waiting around. All right, Alliance.
Anyone put a handskin?
They might find a little nutritional snack on the side as handskin gets blitzed down. Ran over by Wee.
I don't know about that one. I think maybe he was trying to keep that top wave pushed out a little bit with the Thunderstrike. Bought out of position there. Probably have to force his buyback, even though he's only got 35 seconds on the respawn timer.
Situation for both of them, really, at this rate. Medusa is at risk if she comes too far forward in this, and there's the buyback of Tiny. You're still going to lose the tower. This is do or die. Nigma have had enough. You take away their toys, they take away your base, and they're going to take away your Timber if he's not careful. Moves out the Ice Blast in time. Stone Gate's been used. Toss back, Avalanche control, but Miracle's out the Glimmer Cave. And now you have no Stone Gates. A Medusa that is now incredibly vulnerable in the jump in. Mind control moving forward. Misses the Slithering Crush, but the Remnant comes down the Snapfire, controlled up. BKB activated. We chase it in the meantime. 33 just being wailed on by Miracle. They will lose the Snapfire. Buyback comes out. Still has the kisses to work with. And 33 is still alive. They're just trying to get the racks right now. Toss away. Trying to keep Miracle off the buildings. But Mind Control will go in to finish the deal. BKB trying to slow him down. He's not doing that much damage. He will do enough to bring it down. He'll be able to get the racks, the Mega Creeps, and get out. The kisses will not find kills, other than the boys who's brought down pretty early. But now Mind Control able to move away in time. Miracle still farming up items. If there's anything Miracle's going to do in the game, it's farm. But they miss the opportunity to trap in the Static Storm. They'll go for the TB away. This is ballsy, but he will make it out just in time.
The Rapier just not enough, and you have to feel that maybe if those little bit of extra experience was gotten from the outposts, it would have been the difference maker. You know, hitting up onto those level 20 talents a bit earlier on the Timber as well as the Tiny, hitting level 25 on the Deuce just a little bit earlier. Kuro?
Trouble. Doing this to keep them away. Like, this is the Alliance's only play. They have to go down mid and try to pivot this
right ball back.
And instead, in they go. Control out to 33. Mind Control might melt up here. He walked straight into Limp, but that wasn't what he wanted. And now the chase is on the Miracle. He got out once. I'm not sure if he does it again. The cookie's there. Kinetic Cook trap him in. No race for 5 seconds, and they see everything. And they will be able to burst him down in time.
Guru's gonna melt.
Gone. Kuro is indeed melting, trying to move away quick enough, but they stay on top of my finger, just ate the cheese as well, and he'll also die. Nigma, in a rush to try and keep the pressure on and stop Alliance, are now hemorrhaging heroes one by one.
And those tier 4 items become available as well. The Illusionist Cape, pretty effective on the Deucer. You can pop it, use the illusion to help split push, and also a gem on the ground just at the top of this little ramp here on the left side on the Radiant Tri-Camp area. So I wonder if that was spotted out. I don't think so by the Disruptor.
No, it doesn't look like that is going to be the case. I think they're just more focused on trying to get down mid. You need to force all the buybacks you can. You assume that every member of Nigma has buyback. You will then be surprised if you reach the base in time to learn that Lifestealer does not. And considering the situation you have put Alliance in, they don't have many other plays than going mid hard. And with a double rapier, that may be the only play left for the side of Alliance.
Middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, we can see the Boots of Travel queued up here by Limp. He's pushing out the spot lane, and then he wants to get right back in the action.
Stand strong behind your Dusa. Prepare kit. Both sides can use the same sense of irony to hold back. Nico Baby looking fine for the moment. Will sidestep the Ice Blast. He can't afford to go back. This is in or you are out of this qualifier.
Dire's middle tower has
And they ping it. They need to move.
They're going to go for it.
Racks. They have to go for it. There is no other option. You can attack without being hit up by the tower. Prepare kit to slow this down. 30 seconds might be long enough, but there's the glyph to buy some time. They force it out early, but Lifestealer will be available this fight.
Oh,
and look at the
Radiant.
They're losing it right now.
Base.
The glyph. Snapfire will go back. You need to actually stay here, which means they know you now in numbers divine. This is the moment where they could try and deal with Nico Baby. Solid Crest to slow him down. BKB gets activated. Just bring down another tower, and they stab the back line. Hanskin has to use a static storm, but he's free to